The Antarctic is the most extreme and least explored place on our planet. For decades, this frozen continent has been ground zero for strange discoveries and theories about what it's hiding in its depths. We're talking about bizarre radio signals blasting from beneath the ice, satellite images of objects resembling alien spacecraft, vast underground caves, mysterious pyramids, and even secret Third Reich bases. For a long time, these stories remained unproven, but recently, a massive study using advanced deep ice scanning technology mapped the continent in incredible detail, and the results were completely unexpected. Only now are these long-buried secrets beginning to come to light. From secret, century-old expeditions to hidden military ice bases, Antarctica hides things that defy explanation. But nothing compares to the mysterious objects recently detected deep beneath the frozen crust, and the discovery at a depth of 2.5 miles that forced an immediate emergency drilling operation. What exactly was found hidden beneath the ice? It's so cold in Antarctica that temperatures regularly drop below -80 degrees Celsius. In such an extreme climate, exposed skin can suffer severe frostbite in just a matter of minutes. At the same time, the continent is so dry that some regions have not seen precipitation for thousands of years. Its winds can reach speeds of up to 185 miles per hour, stronger than most hurricanes on Earth. Flying over this continent, you'd see nothing but an endless expanse of the blinding white of snow and ice. In some places, this frozen shell reaches a thickness of 2.5 miles, equivalent to stacking 5 Burj Khalifas on top of one another. This colossal ice sheet contains about 70% of the planet's freshwater reserves. If Antarctica were ever to melt completely, global sea levels would rise by approximately 200 feet, permanently reshaping the map of the world. We still do not fully comprehend the true scale of this frozen wilderness. Covering 5.4 million square miles, Antarctica is larger than all of Europe and nearly 1.5 times the size of the United States. It's no surprise that during the 20th century, Antarctica began attracting intense interest, not only from the global scientific community, but also from the world's major military powers. And perhaps no nation was more fascinated by this icy continent than Nazi Germany. So much so that decades later, a persistent myth still survives about the secret Third Reich bases hidden beneath the Antarctic ice. It's May 1945. Berlin lies in ruins. The Third Reich has surrendered completely, yet amid the chaos, a disturbing question begins to take shape in people's minds. What if this is not the end? It was at this moment that the world first heard whispers of Base 211, a secret Nazi stronghold supposedly hidden deep within the Antarctic ice. At first glance, it sounded like a science fiction, but the theory was fueled by several real, documented clues. In 1943, Grand Admiral Karl Donitz made a cryptic remark, claiming that his submarine fleet had created for the Führer an impenetrable fortress, a true paradise oasis in the midst of eternal ice. Then, in the summer of 1945, something strange happened. Months after the official fall of Berlin, 2 German submarines, U-530 and U-977, mysteriously arrived at a naval base in Argentina. Their crews had destroyed all onboard documents and were unable to clearly explain their routes. The Buenos Aires press immediately erupted with sensational headlines. According to the rumors, the submarines had secretly unloaded their cargo at the South Pole before Germany's surrender, delivering Reich gold, advanced technologies, and even Adolf Hitler himself. Yet, despite decades of speculation, not a single piece of credible evidence has ever emerged to support the existence of the so-called Base 211. No documents, no verified coordinates, not even the slightest trace capable of proving the legend of a secret Nazi city buried beneath the Antarctic ice. But the most remarkable part of the story is something else entirely. The Third Reich really did send its own expedition to Antarctica. And that's not just a legend, it's a genuine historical operation that most people have never even heard of. On December 17th, 1938, the vessel MS Schwabenland departed the port of Hamburg under conditions of strict secrecy. Originally a cargo ship, it had been acquired and converted into a floating airbase by Deutsche Lufthansa. Engineers installed a powerful steam catapult on its stern, capable of launching 10-ton flying boats. The mission was commanded by experienced polar explorer Captain Alfred Richter, while the crew consisted of 82 men, including scientists and military officers. The ship was not heading to Antarctica to construct a secret military base or deploy Third Reich weaponry. Its true objective may come as a surprise. It was finding and securing whale oil, a critically important strategic resource used in the production of margarine, industrial lubricants, and nitroglycerin. In an effort to break Germany's dependence on foreign imports, the leadership of the Third Reich approved a secret mission: gain control over the rich whaling waters off the Antarctic coast. On January 19, 1939, MS Schwabenland forced its way through massive ice fields and reached the coastline that the Germans intended to claim as their own territory under the name Neuschwabenland. At that point, the operation entered its most ambitious phase. 2 enormous Dornier-Val flying boats named Passat and Boreas were launched one after another from the ship's deck. Over the following weeks, their crews carried out 15 highly challenging flights. The pilots conducted an unprecedented aerial survey, capturing more than 11,000 detailed photographs and mapping approximately 135,000 square miles of previously unexplored territory. To reinforce Germany's territorial claim, navigators dropped specially designed aluminium marker darts from the air. Each carried the Reich Eagle and the swastika insignia. During one of these flights, the crews made a remarkable discovery: an ice-free region containing freshwater lakes that remained unfrozen year-round. This area would later become known as the Schirmacher Oasis. Yet the entire mission was ultimately defeated by a single diplomatic maneuver. Norwegian intelligence had correctly interpreted Germany's intentions. Just days before the arrival of the expedition, on January 14, 1939, Norway officially declared the region Queen Maud Land, part of its sovereign territory. As a result, the Reich's aluminium markers remained buried beneath the Antarctic snow, and the ambitious project came to an abrupt end with the outbreak of World War II. Then, only a year after the war ended, in August 1946, the United States launched its own massive operation in Antarctica. The scale of the undertaking was so enormous that it resembled a military invasion far more than a scientific expedition. And it was during this operation that the first strange reports began to emerge. Some military personnel claimed they'd witnessed objects in the Antarctic sky that seemed impossible to explain. The operation was called Highjump, and its scale was truly staggering. The Pentagon dispatched an entire armada to Antarctica's frozen shores. 13 military vessels, including the aircraft carrier USS Philippine Sea and the submarine USS Senate, more than 30 aircraft, and a force of approximately 4,700 military personnel. Officially, the mission, led by renowned polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, served defensive objectives during the early days of the Cold War. Its purpose was to test equipment under extreme polar conditions and establish a permanent Antarctic base known as Little America IV. However, the extraordinary scale of this highly classified operation, combined with its sudden and premature termination, triggered a flood of disturbing rumors. Reports began to surface in the international press claiming that American forces had encouraged strange, highly advanced flying objects in the skies over Antarctica. Conspiracy theorists quickly connected these alleged sightings to the Nazi presence in the region. They claimed that the United States had discovered the hidden Nazi Base 211 and its secret disc-shaped aircraft, which supposedly inflicted heavy losses on the American fleet. The speculation intensified after a real interview with Richard Byrd, in which he warned that the United States must take defensive measures against hostile aircraft capable of flying from pole to pole at incredible speeds. In reality, the mission's tragedies and the loss of several aircraft were caused by brutal Antarctic weather and severe polar blizzards. To this day, there's not a single documented piece of evidence proving the existence of Base 211 or any encounter between American forces and unidentified flying objects. Yet years later, as technology advanced and new methods of observation emerged, Antarctica found itself at the center of a new wave of mystery and conspiracy theories. This time, the fascination was fueled by a growing number of strange discoveries, objects and phenomena that, even today, remain only partially explained. The first mystery to capture headlines in 2016 and 2017 was the story of a gigantic, inexplicable opening in the ice that suddenly appeared in the middle of the seemingly endless frozen cover of the Weddell Sea. This massive hole in the sea ice grew at an astonishing rate. In August 2016, it covered approximately 12,700 square miles. By October 2017, it had expanded to nearly 19,300 square miles, an area comparable to the size of Switzerland. The internet exploded with theories involving tectonic weapons and hidden entrances to a hollow Earth. Scientists, however, quickly offered a far more grounded explanation. Radar observations identified the phenomenon as a rare natural event known as Maud-Rise polynya. Powerful cyclonic ocean currents and intense storms had drawn relatively warm, salty water from the depths to the surface, melting the sea ice from below. Soon, public attention shifted from the ocean to the Antarctic mainland. That same year, photographs of a remarkably symmetrical four-sided pyramid hidden within the southern part of the Ellsworth Mountains spread across online forums. Rising approximately 4,150 feet above the surrounding landscape, the formation appeared almost unnervingly artificial, resembling a perfect replica of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Before long, theories emerged claiming it was evidence of an ancient civilization that had existed before Antarctica became covered by ice. The reality, however, proved far less extraordinary. Geologists explained that the structure was simply a mountain peak protruding through the ice sheet. Over millions of years, erosion and freeze-thaw weathering had sculpted its slopes into an unusually symmetrical shape. Then, in October 2024, another viral mystery swept across social media. Users on Reddit shared coordinates pointing to a location near Japan's Showa Station, where satellite imagery appeared to reveal a massive, perfectly rectangular ice door. To many observers, the conclusion seemed obvious: a hidden entrance to a secret underground facility. Glaciologists quickly put the speculation to rest. The structure was actually a gigantic iceberg that had run aground, become trapped, and begun melting unevenly under the influence of wind and ocean currents. The low angle of the Antarctic sun cast a deep rectangular shadow, transforming an ordinary block of ice into a striking optical illusion. Light and perspective played a similar trick in images later circulated by the website Infinity Explorers. There, conspiracy theorists claimed to have identified a partially submerged metallic disc roughly 130 feet in diameter, something that looked remarkably similar to a classic flying saucer. A closer analysis revealed a much simpler explanation. The alleged alien craft was merely an exposed rock formation that had been cleared of snow by powerful winds. Combined with digital compression artifacts in the satellite imagery, The surface appeared to possess a false metallic sheen. The final chapter in this series of internet mysteries came in March 2018. On South Georgia Island, satellite images captured something very unusual and disturbing. It looked like the trail of something that had crashed on the ice and stretched nearly a mile across the snow, ending at a large, unidentified object. Videos claiming to show the crash site of a UFO accumulated millions of views. The mystery was eventually solved by geologist Richard Waller of Kiel University. The object was the result of a simple avalanche. Part of an overhanging glacier near the summit of Mount Paget had collapsed, sending an enormous mass of rock and ice hurtling down the mountainside at tremendous speed, carving a deep scar into the snow behind it. Although every phenomenon described so far eventually received a logical, scientific explanation, during one Antarctic expedition, researchers encountered something that remains genuinely difficult to explain. In 2016 and 2018, researchers working on the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna Project, ANITA, launched a massive NASA stratospheric balloon over Antarctica. For hours, it drifted at an altitude of roughly 22 miles, scanning its surroundings with ultra-sensitive antennas. Its mission was to detect ultra-high-energy neutrinos, particles often referred to as ghost particles. These elusive particles are born in the most violent events in the universe: exploding supernovae, colliding black holes, and the turbulent cores of active galaxies. They possess almost no mass, travel at nearly the speed of light, and can pass through entire galaxies virtually unhindered. By studying them, scientists hope to uncover some of the deepest secrets surrounding the origin and evolution of the cosmos. By now you've probably guessed why Antarctica was chosen for this mission. The continent is a nearly perfect natural detector. First, it offers an environment of near complete radio silence, isolated from the interference of civilization, mobile networks, and Wi-Fi signals. Second, the South Pole is covered by a vast expanse of exceptionally pure, dry ice, an almost ideal transparent medium for transmitting delicate electromagnetic signals without significant distortion. But during this study, something strange happened. Instead of the particles coming from deep space and striking the ice from above, several high-energy particles appeared to emerge from below the surface and travel upward. In other words, the particles didn't look like they were coming from outer space, but from deep within the Earth itself. According to standard physics, this made very little sense. The Earth is simply too dense for particles carrying that much energy to pass straight through it. Sensational headlines quickly followed. Some media outlets speculated about parallel universes where time flows backward, while others suggested the existence of hidden extraterrestrial technology buried beneath Antarctica. By 2020, scientists had proposed a far more plausible explanation. According to one hypothesis, the detectors may have observed ordinary cosmic rays arriving from above exactly as expected. Rather than reflecting directly from the surface, these signals may have penetrated deep into the Antarctic ice and bounced off structures hidden beneath miles of frozen terrain. This internal, mirror-like effect could have fooled the instruments into interpreting the signals as originating from below. The idea becomes even more intriguing when we look beneath Antarctica's ice sheet. The frozen continent truly does conceal a remarkable variety of hidden structures that could, at least in theory, influence the behavior of incoming signals. But one discovery stands out above all the others. Its revelation became one of the greatest geographical sensations of the second half of the 20th century. Near Russia's Vostok station, beneath approximately 2.3 miles of ice, researchers detected an enormous hidden cavity. Further investigation revealed something extraordinary. It was not a cavity at all, but a vast subglacial lake filled with liquid water, completely isolated from the outside world for an estimated 15 million years. This was a sealed ecosystem that may have existed since an era when megalodons still ruled the oceans. Recognizing the scientific value of the discovery, Russian researchers soon began drilling operations in an effort to reach the ancient water trapped beneath the Antarctic ice for millions of years. On February 5, 2012, after 23 years of incredibly difficult drilling, the team of Russian scientists and engineers stopped their equipment. The sensors had detected the end of the ice. They had finally reached Lake Vostok. The scale of this hidden reservoir is astonishing. It stretches for approximately 149 miles, has a width of 31 miles, and reaches depths of nearly 2,460 feet. In both size and shape, Lake Vostok is often compared to the massive Lake Ontario, except this one is sealed beneath a colossal Antarctic ice sheet. The lake is completely isolated from sunlight, winds, and any contact with the atmosphere. Depending on the estimate, it has remained cut off from the outside world for between 15 and 30 million years. Just imagine standing there right now. Above your head lies 2.3 miles of compressed ice, a gigantic crushing dome, absolute darkness, cold water, and perhaps something alive hidden within it. It's the kind of place that can genuinely send a chill down your spine. But how can such an enormous body of water remain liquid beneath a frozen shell of this magnitude? The answer lies in several factors working together. First, the immense ice sheet acts as a giant insulating blanket, trapping geothermal heat rising from deep within the Earth. Second, the tremendous pressure at these depths alters the physical properties of ice and lowers its melting point. Studies and calculations suggest that parts of the lake may maintain temperatures of around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. At first glance, that seems surprisingly warm. The reason is the same geothermal heat continuously rising from below. Yet the lake's mysteries do not end there. The water exists under crushing pressure exceeding 300 atmospheres, generated by the enormous weight of the ice sheet above. To get an idea of how extreme that is, imagine having a full-sized city bus laying on top of you. Scientists also estimate that oxygen concentrations within the lake may be many times higher than that found in ordinary freshwater lakes on the surface. The explanation for this lies in the countless air bubbles trapped within the ice above. Over millions of years, layers of ice gradually sank deeper and deeper, carrying those ancient pockets of air with them. Under immense pressure, the gases were effectively forced into the lake water, creating oxygen levels that could potentially be toxic to many forms of life known today. For years, researchers also debated a fascinating possibility. Some proposed that part of the lake might be overlain by a vast cavity filled with compressed gases or ancient air, a hidden chamber hundreds of feet high. Radar surveys have never conclusively confirmed the existence of such a dome, yet the possibility of a subterranean cavern, on a scale comparable to a small European country, continues to captivate everyone. Once the drilling operation finally reached Lake Vostok, the next step was obvious: obtain water samples. Initial analysis of the recovered samples revealed DNA traces belonging to previously unknown microorganisms, including chemolithotrophs, capable of surviving by extracting energy from minerals within the underlying bedrock. But controversy emerged almost immediately. A portion of the scientific community challenged the findings, arguing that the samples may have been contaminated by kerosene and freon used during the drilling process. Collecting pristine samples from such depths under immense pressure and extreme environmental conditions is an extraordinary challenge in itself, yet the greatest difficulty was something else entirely. Scientists had to reach the lake without introducing even a single surface microbe into an ecosystem that may have remained isolated for millions of years. consider NASA's Perseverance rover. Before being sent to Mars, it underwent extensive sterilization procedures and was carefully sealed to prevent Earth microorganisms from contaminating another world. In the case of Lake Vostok, the challenge was arguably even greater. Researchers had to drill through 2.3 miles of ice while using machinery drilling fluids, all while trying to preserve an ecosystem that might have remained untouched for millions of years. That's why debates surrounding the purity of the collected samples continue to this day. Yet subsequent studies raised even more intriguing questions. Scientists discovered traces of bacteria that, under normal circumstances, are associated with fish parasites. This led to a compelling possibility. Could more complex multicellular organisms exist within the dark waters of Lake Vostok? Additional genetic analyses revealed evidence of both psychrophiles, organisms that thrive in extreme cold, and thermophiles, species typically associated with hot hydrothermal environments deep beneath the Earth's surface. A complex ecosystem? Multicellular life evolving in complete isolation for millions of years? The possibility cannot be ruled out, but direct evidence remains elusive. The fundamental problem is that investigating subglacial lakes is one of the most difficult technical challenges on Earth. Simply reaching them is already an engineering triumph. Paradoxically, modern science often finds it easier to study the surface of Mars in detail than to penetrate a 2.5-mile thick Antarctic ice sheet or explore the most inaccessible depths of Earth's own oceans. And the reason is not distance. The obstacles are technology, pressure, cold, and the need to preserve these isolated worlds in their untouched state. Yet Antarctica's mysteries do not end with its hidden lakes. The latest research is allowing scientists to peer beneath the very foundations of the ice sheet itself and reveal what lies beneath this colossal mass of frozen water. At a depth of 2.4 miles, conditions are surprisingly warm. Contrary to what one might expect, the bedrock beneath Antarctica emits significant geothermal heat. The reason is simple. We're standing directly above the West Antarctic Rift System, a colossal tectonic fracture comparable in size to the East African Rift Valley. Beneath this immense blanket of ice lies one of the largest volcanic systems on Earth. Scientists have already confirmed the existence of at least 138 volcanoes, many of which are believed to be active. To grasp the scale, imagine a volcanic province comparable to Yellowstone, except entirely hidden beneath miles of frozen water. Now imagine what happens when one of these volcanoes erupts. It cannot simply blast ash and lava into the sky. Above it sits a sheet of ice several miles thick. Instead, the result is a colossal thermal collision. Molten magma, with temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius, comes into contact with the lower layers of the ice sheet. It melts the ice, transforming millions of tons of frozen material into water. At the same time, the tremendous pressure exerted by the ice above prevents that water from readily boiling away or escaping as steam. Deep beneath the continent, vast subglacial lakes and geothermal reservoirs begin to form. But this enormous volume of water cannot remain stationary forever. It starts to move, and it moves in a way that seems almost impossible. Because the ice sheet presses down with billions of tons of force, some of this subglacial water is actually driven uphill. Where the ice sheet is thickest, it acts like a gigantic hydraulic press. The immense pressure forces meltwater out of low-lying rocky basins and pushes entire rivers through hidden tunnels beneath the ice. In some cases, these rivers are driven up the slopes of buried mountain ranges, climbing hundreds of feet against the landscape. This hidden circulatory system eventually carries water toward the edges of the continent. And when these powerful flows of fresh water burst from beneath the ice sheet into the surrounding ocean, they create what scientists sometimes describe as a fire hose effect. Water erupts from beneath the glacier under tremendous pressure. Because fresh water is less dense than seawater, it does not immediately sink or mix. Instead, it rushes upward toward the surface. The result is a remarkable natural phenomenon, something resembling an upside-down waterfall. These powerful plumes act like enormous pumps, dragging warmer ocean water upward from the depths and directing it toward the underside of Antarctic glaciers. The hidden process is one of the reasons why parts of Antarctica's coastal ice are now melting from below much faster than many climate models predicted only a few years ago. Today, thanks to decades of radar surveys and satellite observations, including extensive mapping efforts completed in 2025, we can do something that would have seemed impossible not long ago. We can effectively remove Antarctica's ice and reveal the continent beneath. What emerges is the most detailed map ever created of the landscape hidden below Antarctica's ice sheet. And what it reveals is astonishing. Without its ice cover, Antarctica is not flat and featureless. It's an incredibly rugged world, carved by immense canyons, towering mountain ranges, and gigantic tectonic rifts. At the heart of the continent rises the Gamburtsev mountain range. This vast mountain system rivals the European Alps in scale, elevation, and dramatic peaks. The range was first discovered by a Soviet expedition in 1958 using powerful seismic surveys that analyzed sound waves reflected from deep beneath the ice. Today, satellite lasers allow scientists to observe these mountains in extraordinary detail. Imagine towering peaks reaching nearly 9,000 feet, buried beneath the crushing weight of ice for millions of years, hidden in complete darkness. This concealed landscape reveals an important truth. From space, Antarctica appears to be a lifeless, frozen mass. In reality, it's a dynamic and complex world, constantly changing beneath its 3-mile-thick armor. Yet, even that armor cannot forever contain the immense energy rising from below. Along tectonic fractures, geothermal heat literally burns its way through the ice. And the greatest of these volcanic breaches is Mount Erebus. Standing 12,440 feet above sea level, it's the southernmost active volcano on Earth. It's remained active for roughly 1.3 million years, and it provides scientists with a unique opportunity to explore yet another of Antarctica's enduring mysteries.